Performance appraisals by Group 12. Performance appraisal is an important topic within human resource management as it measures the performance of an employee or individual against a set of objectives. Performance appraisals provide the organisation with data on career development, strengths and weaknesses of employees within the organisation, training outcomes, and the diagnosis of organisational problems related to performance. Through the utilisation of the data collected, organisations are able to implement corrective measures and schemes. Furthermore, performance appraisals are also conducive to assisting employees identify where their strengths lie and where they need improvement. Having a formal performance appraisal process enables employees to work towards career development through setting achievable short and long-term goals. As we are in our final years of our university degree and are soon about to enter into the workforce, our team thought this would be an interesting and beneficial topic to further study, as it would provide us with greater insight into what to expect in a professional environment. One of the main goals of a performance appraisal is to provide employees with accurate feedback on their performance in which they can either improve or sustain. Performance is largely linked to motivation. Many employees need a goal in order to achieve peak performance. This has been stated in multiple theories. One in particular, the equity theory, suggests that employees are more willing to work at a higher level if they perceive that in comparison to their peers, they are receiving outcomes proportionate to their contribution in their jobs. This theory clearly states the correlation between performance and motivation. The equity theory, among others, demonstrates the importance of motivation in relation to performance and thus productivity. There are a multitude of methods for assessing performance, all of which fall under one of these three categories. Firstly, traits-orientated, secondly, behaviour-orientated, or thirdly, results-orientated. Traits-orientated methods assess an employee's personality traits related to their job performance. Traits can tell an employer what a potential employee is like, but cannot accurately determine their job performance, as other factors such as situation, abilities, and skills can also affect the employee's performance. However, traits are hard to identify and measure correctly and often have very little association with job performance. Behaviour-orientated methods assess an employee's behaviours related to job performance. Behaviour-orientated appraisals focus more on the actions of an employee in the workplace opposed to their personality. However, these methods are often too subjective and have low correlation to job performance. Results-orientated appraisal focuses simply on the output and the extent to which employees achieved expected outcomes. Although each method has their own system and steps, the underlying theory stays the same: to present an accurate assessment of an employee's performance through feedback which results in increased employee motivation and productivity. However, too much emphasis is often placed on the results and process and not on the strategies to improve. This can lead to shortcuts being taken. Empirical evidence gives rise to both the positive and negatives of performance appraisals in organisations. In a recent study on human resource management practices, it revealed that an organisation's climate of trust significantly increases the effectiveness of their performance appraisals in boosting employee organisational commitment. Additionally, studies have shown that when a performance appraisal system is in line with organisational culture, it reduces both employee turnover and absenteeism. Furthermore, a study done on managerial psychology found that when employees receive frequent feedback and they believe this feedback to be helpful, it leads to a significant increase in their organisational commitment and work performance. This begs the question, are performance appraisals only effective in increasing job performance when the appraised values feedback? A study on performance appraisal satisfaction found that employees who were dissatisfied and who disagreed with their performance appraisal resulted in job dissatisfaction, lower organisational commitment, and increased likelihood to quit. Therefore, it is essential to give an accurate and objective performance appraisal to avoid this. One huge issue with performance appraisals is subjectivity. A new study published in the Human Performance Journal has found that 71% of variance in performance appraisals are attributed to managers' subjective perception, observation, and unconscious bias. Studies show that performance appraisals are less effective when the evaluators fail to remain neutral to emotional, cultural, and social factors. One study in the International Journal of Human Resource Management found that stigmas and discrimination associated with obesity resulted in obese employees receiving unjust performance appraisals and less rewards than they were entitled to. This resulted in long-term negative impacts on employees' motivation and performance. Furthermore, Dr. David Rock and colleagues have proved from a neuroscience perspective that performance appraisal ratings encourage competition among employees as opposed to encouraging a favourable organisational environment of collaboration. Therefore, maybe the performance appraisal process needs to be rethought. One idea for a change is seen in the organisations of Microsoft and Adobe. These companies have replaced performance ratings with frequent conversations surrounding different topics. This has seen a positive result with companies seeing employees adopting a continuous learning process and seeing them setting their own goals.
Gina.
An example of performance appraisal in a case study is given by the experience of one of our group members who previously worked at a mid-tier construction company for the duration of 1 year and 3 months. Within an organization's integrated management system, a post-probationary period and a yearly employee performance appraisal was to be conducted by the managing director and the direct supervisor. During the group member's tenure at the organisation, the member received only a self-requested performance appraisal 3 months post-probationary period. During this informal performance appraisal, the member received comments and responses such as "good work," "no," and "yes" from both reviewers. In addition, during the 1 year and 3 month period, the group member received no formal training, was not given feedback beyond the generic, and had not received any salary increase. The problems in this case study. Firstly, the procedures did not reflect the workplace environment, specifically the integrated management system outlining regular performance appraisal. Secondly, the performance appraisal had to be requested by employee post-probationary period. Thirdly, no specific feedback was given. Additionally, no feedback on strengths or weaknesses were given. Also, no training was given to further the employee's skill set. And lastly, there was no salary increase, which led to the employee assuming a devaluated or unappreciated position within the organisation. In this situation, the recommendations that we give is that it would definitely be more beneficial if the employee were to receive a formal document identifying his or her strengths and weaknesses that have been displayed in the workforce over a given period, for example, the prior financial year. This process should be embedded in the firm's practices and thus not to have to be requested by the employee. In addition to this, it should also be clearly documented how the individual employee can improve in their area of work or enhance their professional work-life experience, for example, through becoming more engaged in their firm's activities or events. In carrying on from this point, it is also recommended that the employee's performance appraisal is tailored to the individual themselves, which would overcome this issue of it being too generic or broad. Moreover, the individual's performance appraisal really needs to identify if and when more training should be undertaken. Training is integral to enhancing an employee's skills and competencies. and the provision of training really highlights how the firm values investing in the employees' skills, enabling the employees to feel valued and a part of an enticing firm's culture. Performance appraisals can be greatly beneficial to organisations as a means to identify the strengths and weaknesses in their employees. They can also be a great tool to reward employees. Performance appraisals are backed by many theories, for example, the equity theory. They are also backed by many methods, such as the traits, behavioural, or results approach. It is essential when conducting performance appraisals for the interviewer to remain objective and be aware of his or her subjective influence. Organisations should ensure their performance appraisal strategy is aligned with their organisation's climate and culture, and to ensure regular feedback is given. This will ensure optimal performance appraisal results, seeing their employees' work, commitment, and performance significantly improve. Thank you for listening.